Hey, I didn't even realize. I didn't realize I turned it off.
Wardrobe change as well.
What an entrance that was.
No, it was the. I've done away with the uni for now. The weather is getting nice, so I've done away with uni.
One day,
You want to get to like -1 tomorrow or something? I'll be back in it. But welcome to Loaded Bag NUFC. We are back here for the big match preview. At least we're smiling about something because at the moment it is a little bit drab being a Newcastle United fan. But I'm with the boys, Daz, Chris, and I think we have a little guest in the green room. We have. My bad. I forgot to send him the link. It's my fault.
You told me you sent it to him.
I'll send it to him now. I did. I told you. We'll explain in a second. But that's Chris. How are you?
Yeah. All good. Apart from football, all good. I've come to a realization today, boys. I think we're missing something. I'll talk about it later on in the show, or I'll just show you later on in the show, and viewers. But Chris, how are you?
All right, mate. Yeah. That's all I ever say. Same thing, isn't it? Busy day in work. Very, very busy day in work. But yeah, on a personal note, I'm good. Kind of feeling a bit down in the dumps over Newcastle United at the moment, but got to keep reminding myself we are still in the Champions League, we are still in the FA Cup, and even though we look at the league table and we want to look away where possible, it's not all doom and gloom. But yeah, great to have Dan on tonight. We do love having Dan on, and hopefully Dan isn't too jovial, because I can understand why he'd be very, very happy with how his season's gone. But yeah,
let me just check. No.
Not thinking in.
Not yet.
We don't need that. But yeah, no. On a personal level, boys, I'm all good. Pete, how are you doing, fella?
Yeah, not too bad. Football aside, I'll be honest with you. Work's been a pain in the backside this week, and I knew it was going to happen because I wear my Newcastle coat to work every day, always repping the players, and like the kids. Like, oh my God, it's just like all I've been hearing since Monday. 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. That's all I've been hearing all day yesterday, all day today. Like, look, normally my door's open, anyone could come in, ask me a question about anything. Door's shut, lights off.
Shut down.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood. Normally, members of staff come by, I had to get on the weekend, this, that, and the other. Don't talk to me about football.
It's like, nah.
You don't want to talk about football. No. The only ones I'll talk to are Leicester City fans. I'll talk to you. Nobody else. It's my daughter's birthday today, so all good. Yeah, all good there. She's celebrating right now. Talking with her friends, presents, all the rest of it. We'll have some time later. But we're here to talk football, lads. We're here to talk football. Massive game at St. James's Park. They're always big games against Man United, whether it's at Old Trafford, St. James's Park. We're at home Wednesday night under the lights. There's only one way we do this on the big match preview, and it's getting a fantastic guest on. It's a pleasure to welcome back Dan United into the studio. So let's talk about it. Why not?
Welcome, Dan.
What do you mean, welcome, Dan? Almost welcome, Dan. He hadn't sent me the bloody link. I was sat there. I was like, hang on a minute. Am I being punked? Am I being punked here or something?
It's my bad.
Oh, dearie me.
I must have copy and pasted the writing and not the link. And it was just like,
mate, I was rushing back from work, and I was sort of obviously went got some food for tea later, and then I got back, saw your message saying see you in a sec. I was like, yep, sound. Got upstairs, everything on, got my coffee, and I went, well, how am I getting on this bloody show? How am I getting on this show? How are we, lads? We good?
No, we're not good. We're not happy right now, and you know full well we're not happy right now. You look, he's sitting there, and he's got his arm up. He's just big grin on his face, right? And look, you know what? Let's just get into it, because you have a right to be, and look. I just pre-warn Newcastle fans watching this. It's not pretty reading. So this was at 21 games, if you can see it on the screen. 21 games. Newcastle United 6th, Manchester United 7th. We were neck and neck with points, 32. That was at game 21. Here we are now, a bit bigger, at game 28. Man United are now on 51 points. And Newcastle United are on 36. So, yeah, we've gained, Jesus Christ, man, 4 points in that whole time. But for Man United, it's been a huge turnaround. And this man's come in, Michael Carrick, to take over from Ruben Amorim. Dan, that's some turnaround in a short space of time, got to be honest.
Yeah, it is. And look, I could quite easily come on here and gloat and say, we're not just at you, but the fact that we're where we are in the table. But let's get back to reality here. Manchester United are playing a game a week. We were at the FA Cup in January. As much as we're celebrating the fact that Carrick seems to be doing what was the most simplistic thing to do, which was play players in their position. It's great, but of course, I'd rather be playing Champions League games at this point of the season. I'd rather be in the FA Cup still. I'd rather be in the Carabao Cup final. So it's a season of happiness, but it's not really. It's a season of regret because we're in a situation because unfortunately, as we all know, the club took too long to make a decision, had to, in the end, wait for the manager to basically walk himself out of the door by slating anybody and everybody. So, and I get it with United fans, and I get so much stick online, man, because I'm a realist. I'm not someone who watches a couple of wins and goes, "We're going to win the Premier League." But I see all these posts saying, "Well, imagine if we'd have sacked him in November. Imagine if we'd have sacked him. We wouldn't have been in a title race. We wouldn't." And the reason we wouldn't is the last 3 games have shown that it's been a bit sobering. We've had the initial manager bounce, Carrick's come in, and the boys have really took to him, and they've had some fantastic performances. I can't lie, beating Arsenal at the Emirates was fantastic. Beating City, let's be honest, we could have scored 25 goals against them that day. We had 4 taken off us, but the last 3 games, it's kind of just gone back a little bit, and I just wonder if that is because the lads are only playing 1 game a week. Like, when you're in form, you want to play again and again and again. The lads get that feeling of the hunger and the feeling of winning. And at the moment, because we had 13 days between 2 games. We're having, after tomorrow, I think it's another 9 or 10 days. It doesn't help. It doesn't help the lads. They looked tired. They looked out of it in the first sort of first half against Palace. So, yeah, of course, look, Champions League is fantastic. But again, without doing the big club bias, a club like Manchester United, who have spent the money they've spent in the transfer window, attracting some good players, with the players that they've still got at the club, well, you're kind of saying they should be going for Champions League football in a season without any other European football to play. So, look, I'm never happy. You know that. I'm never happy. I always want more. But at the same time, I think they've done okay. And since we played last, we haven't lost a game since we played Villa, I think on the 21st of December in the league. So we're definitely in form in the league. And do you know what? To be fair to Michael Carrick, what he's doing is different to what we've seen for the last few years. At the moment, when we need a goal, you kind of look at United and you go, they'll score. They'll get a chance. They'll definitely get a chance. So it's great. I'm really happy. 3rd place. I didn't expect us to get 3rd, lads. I thought Villa would have run off with that, but then Villa seemed to, obviously with the injury problems they've had, have allowed us to creep back into it. So yeah, happy, but obviously it's always what might have been. It's always what might have been.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about that catching Villa quite professionally there. I was expecting a few missed balls because I see it in the chat every time you get a win.
Do you know something? I try and bait Billy because Billy's calmed so much, hasn't he? I feel like Charlie's obviously doing what Charlie does best now and loves to bait everyone, but I can't get Billy to bite. So that's all that is. I mean, look, the biggest disgrace, in that chat, as we know, is Charlie. Charlie, Mr. Nice guy persona, and then on the chat he's straight in at all of us. So to be 6 points ahead of Chelsea, Absolutely phenomenal. To be 6 points ahead of Garnacho, absolutely phenomenal. Do you know, it's fantastic stuff. But look, professionalism is, and that is what we want. If you're an Office fan, you'll know that from David Brent. And that's what United need to do now. For the last 10 games, there's 10 World Cup finals. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Boys, I'll come to you with this one. Obviously, we talked about Man United. Dan's given his perspective on the turnaround. It is an impressive turnaround for Man United. There is that caveat that they have one game a week, but do you have a little bit of a feeling that it's a case of what could have been for Newcastle? Same points, same position, same amount of games, and it's completely chalk and cheese. Like, how do you break that down, Daz, from your perspective, seeing how both teams have gone just in what, 7 games?
Yeah. No, I don't think it's a case of what might have been, because if I listen to Chris Hall and we're still in this, we're still in these Champions League spots, maybe. No, as I said before, I called it in November that with the defeats to West Ham and Brentford, this was one of those seasons. It was similar. It was following the similar pattern to the one before. It was injuries previously. This season is just poor performances, and we're not at the race. But I think next year, if we're all playing with the same managerial team in place, I think we'll have a positive season. We'll do what Man United did this year and rock up the table, because we won't have European football to contend with. But credit to Man United and credit to Michael Carrick. I didn't think he was going to be able to get this Man United machine back up and running, and he's done so. I do hope that it's the case that they do give him a big contract and then it all falls apart. But that's because I hate Man United, and I've never made any secret of that Dan. But I also respect to Dan. I was thinking with the show tonight, so what Dan are we going to get? Are we going to get the Dan who's come in with Wolfie, all guns blazing for
again? That's
a different type of show. But no, we've got the humble Dan, and
no.
I thought we'd have it.
The Wolfie and Dan duo is only when Charlie is on this panel. When Charlie is on the panel, Charlie does something to me that I just can't stop. He just does something, and it gets me. No, look, you talk about Carrick, and Carrick. My opinion with Carrick is I do think he should have the job next season. I absolutely do. But what Manchester United need to do here is say, okay, you've passed the first phase of the job interview. You've done well. You've got us into Champions League. Here's a 12-month contract now. Go and do it again. Contend with European football. Contend with FA Cup football. Make us go deep into these competitions. And then at the end of the season, then we can do something. The problem we have, and you alluded to, and it's so true in a roundabout way, Ollie come in, went 11 games unbeaten. Everyone was Ollie was at the wheel. We gave him a massive 3 or 4 year contract. And it went to pot after a couple of years. Now, is that all on Ollie? At the time, I kind of thought it was. But then when you look at it afterwards and you see the signings that we made that kind of hampered what he wanted, it's a case of what if. I think Manchester United and Ineos in particular, they need to do this smart. They need to play it smart. Michael Carrick, if he's offered a 12-month contract at United, is not going to turn that down. He will not go out there and manage a bigger club than United. He might get a West Ham job. He may get Spurs if they get relegated. But I don't think he wants to leave Manchester United. And the simple reason for that is every under-21 game, he's there. Every under-18 game, he's there. That, to me, is a manager who is looking at these boys and going pre-season tour, when we've lost a lot of the players who will be at the World Cup and they'll be on their holidays, their prolonged holidays. Who am I going to be taking on this tour with me to give a chance? Because, we'll probably talk about it in a bit. Man United need a lot of transfers in the summer. There's players going. They need another revamp of their squad. So they're going to have to be careful with it. But look, Carrick, I think at the moment, and to be fair, David Tofield, is it David Tofield? Sorry if I've said your name wrong. Holland and Woodgate as well. Don't forget Holland and Woodgate, because Stevie Holland has been phenomenal for United. He's come in, he's changed the way that they train. His attention to detail. Whenever we play a game, he, instead of celebrating, he's straight back to his office. He's watching the game back. He's seeing what he can learn. He's checked. Stevie Holland has been a fantastic appointment. I'd say a better appointment than Michael Carrick, because You can have a great leader in charge, but you need the coaching staff. Look, I give Tyndall a lot of rubbish, of course I do, but Eddie Howe has a coaching staff around him that he trusts that can go and get the job done. And I think if you have a good, solid coaching staff, then you're halfway there, lads, aren't you?
Well, that's why I put Tyndall on the poster.
I saw it before. I didn't. Do you know? I saw it before, and I thought, yeah.
You know that's what he does. You know that's what he does. But Chris, lots of fair points from Dan with regards to the manager coming in, affecting things. Obviously, the backroom staff, as he's mentioned. Did you expect Man United to make this sort of? He's gone.
He's having a question, mate.
Yeah, he didn't want to talk about Man United. He's got straight off there. So we will come back to that question with Chris anyway. But there was an interesting question there. We'll jump to it if we are able to. There was one here from Yusuf that said, "Will Carrick be able to handle European football next season?" If he is going to take the job, obviously this is the thing with Man United, is because, like you said, they play one game a week. The squad is needing significant improvement, and then you've got to be able to manage those extra games. Something that we've really struggled with this season, have been able to do that. Do you trust Michael Carrick to be able to bring in the players to do that job?
Yeah, I think. Look, I mean, you got to look at it in two ways with this. The first thing is, I think it doesn't matter what manager comes in for Manchester United next season, whether it is Carrick, whether it's a bloody De Zerbi. I mean, Roberto Martinez was linked the other day. That made me feel physically sick. It doesn't matter about the manager, lads. It's the squad. And at the moment, I can say this with complete confidence. If Manchester United go into next season with just replacing Casemiro, just replacing maybe a Harry Maguire if he doesn't sign, then we'll struggle because the squad isn't big enough. At the moment, our squad isn't big enough for the games that we play one time a week at the moment. We are 2 or 3 injuries away from it all going to absolute misery. So any manager, I think they need to make sure that they've got the players and they're backed in the market there. Now, with regards to the players themselves, do you know something? With Champions League always attracts players. It just does. It always does. But at the same time, I mean, we attracted players who, for some bizarre reason, thought it'd be a good idea to come and play under Amorim in this system. Like, I'd love to have been a fly in the wall when Amorim sits there with the players and says, "This is the way I want to play." I don't know how he did it. So I think it more goes on what the club do, and they have sort of done that switch a little bit. We've gone from the Ten Hag days where Ten Hag was essentially going out there and getting players he wanted. It seems that there is a more thought-out plan in doing it now. There have been potential mistakes. We nearly went for Delap over bloody Sesko. You know, we were looking at Emi Martinez over Sen Lemons, and do you know something? This guy here, happy to admit it, I wanted Martinez. I wanted that character in the changing room. But do you know what? On the whole, the transfers they've done this season, all of them have hit. They have. Cunha hasn't been as consistent as we'd like, but he's hit in the times that we've needed. So I think next season, Carrick's managed Manchester United in the Champions League before. You know, when he took over when Ollie was sacked, he managed them against Villarreal. He'll be absolutely, buzzing and raring to go with it. I'm just interested to see what sort of players that they do bring in to combat that, because there are a lot of players, lads, that are not good enough for Manchester United. It's just the simple fact. At the moment, we're getting by on good vibes only. I genuinely think that. Good vibes, and that sort of let's just crack on until the end. So it's an interesting question, Youssef, but I think he'd be fine. It's just about the players that we have to get in. That's all really.
Yeah. I am Chris. I got through half of my question to you, but then you disappeared. But it's fine. Just generally talk about, just give your thoughts on Man United. There was a good question from Yusuf there saying about Michael Carrick. Can he go if he was given the job next season? Can he manage Premier League and European football? Is he able to do that? And Dan was just responding on the back of that, thinking, from his perspective, yes, they can. But what's your thoughts? What's your breakdown on sort of Man United? Obviously, kicking into form. Must be top of the form table right now with regards to the wins and points. Third in the Premier League. Michael Carrick getting a tune out of players that weren't playing well under Amorim, and the potential of them playing Champions League football next season, which looks a distinct possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have, it kills me to say it, I have to give Man United loads of credit because, do you know what? They made the tough decision, to get rid of Ruben Amorim. I mean, he kind of, as Dan already alluded to, he kind of wrote his own P45, really, didn't he? But it's still a difficult decision, because they went all in on him, didn't they? They went all in on him. Dan Ashworth, obviously, exited the club and they brought him in, to kind of be that guy, to kind of set the direction. So to actually turn around and go, do you know what? We've made a mistake. Get him out the club. I think Man United have been brave. I think they will exercise caution, and a bit like what Dan was saying earlier, about Ollie, because obviously it's a similar situation with Ollie, not all that long ago. And I really like Dan's idea, of maybe giving him a year contract and seeing how it goes. But the biggest thing for me is, and I hope that they do, Man United need to back Michael Carrick in the summer, and I believe they will. But they need to really back him and make sure that they, put some players in front of him who are going to provide that squad depth. Because, Dan's already mentioned this, and I've seen Dan talking about it on 12th Man as well. And if you haven't watched 12th Man, get yourself over to their Monday night 12th Man shows are just unrivaled. They're absolutely brilliant. Pete and Dan appear on there. But I think I think Man United have done incredibly well. I think they fully deserve to be where they are. And let's be honest, boys, they brought in some really, really good players in the summer. Brian Mbeumo, Mateus Cunha, Benjamin Sesko. Obviously, we were linked with, and we were after too, as well as others. I mean, the goalkeeper's been massive.
Incredible. One of the signings of the season for the money we've paid for him. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I'm not taking anything away from Michael Carrick, because Michael Carrick has managed to get a tune out of these players. And I think he's just got, it feels to me, and tell me if this is wrong, Dan, but from the outside looking in, it just feels like he's ripped up the previous tactics or formation or how they were going to do it and just gone, right, let's get back to basics. And he's working with a really good bunch of players in terms of quality. And he's just kind of got them all back, just all singing from the same hymn sheet, attacking the league as best they can. I think it's worked out ideal for them that obviously they haven't got any cup distractions. They haven't got any Europe distractions for this coming season. But next season, that's got to be the aim. And that's why they need to back them this summer to make sure that they can fight on multiple fronts. And the final thing I'd say on it as well is, I do want them to back Michael Carrick, and I do think that there are a lot of players that they can retain in going into next season. But I do think there's probably some players that they need to trim off, and it will be interesting to see whether Michael Carrick will make those decisions, because I imagine he's probably got a plan or an idea in his head of who he wants to keep and who he wants to get rid of.
Yeah, straight away, there's two players that I think you look at minutes they're getting under Carrick. Ugarte has had minimal, and I'm so relieved on that because Ugarte's poor. And also Xerxes, I know I give him so much stick on my streams, but he just isn't a Premier League footballer. He come on against Palace the other day, and I'm just like, I don't know what you do. And, United are releasing videos of him bringing the ball down and, spinning it and passing it, saying, this is that. He's a professional footballer. You'd expect them to be able to do that. So there are a lot of people that I think in the summer, Manchester United will be looking to move on. The difference between this summer and last summer is we're not getting rid of these players because they're bad people. Like last summer, we had a lot of negativity in the club, and it was hurting the club from within. This summer, I think Carrick, if he's given the job, and by the way, I personally think that this needs to be done within the next 2 or 3 weeks, so we can then start planning. But I think Carrick and Stevie Holland and the lads will probably be looking at the players like Mason Mount, like Xerxes, like Ugarte, and they'll be saying, thanks, lads, but it's time to go. Now, with that, straight away, when Manchester United are linked with getting one midfielder, well, actually now you need 2 or 3, because if he goes, Ugarte, we know Casemiro's off. And by the way, I don't ever praise the board that much because Ineos are scumbags. But I will say this, fair play to him on 2 counts here, because the first one is, I think 2 or 3 years ago, we'd have extended his contract. We'd have had that option for a year and carried on paying him 350 grand a week. The other caveat to that is at the start of in the summer transfer window, we all know the story that we were linked with Baleba. And I think Brighton kind of was saying, look, you drop 120 on us, we can't say no. United went, absolutely not. Now you're hearing reports that Brighton are saying, look, if you give us 70, you can have him. So they've done well. They've learned from certain mistakes of the past, but it's a big transfer window. And as I said, to spend the money to replace all those players, you're looking at 300-400 million. Don't think United have that even with Champions League football. So they're going to have to rely heavily on getting money for Mount, on getting money for Xerxes, on getting money for Agate. You look at Højlund, obviously he will go. So they're going to have to be shrewd in what they do. But what I do like is I don't think that they're interested in these £100 million signings anymore. They're doing their work. They're going out there and looking at players, that can add stuff to the team. And we'll talk about Sesko in a bit, but I think now it's about bringing in maybe one solid central midfielder and then just bolster with a couple more options. We've got youth coming through. We've got Kone, who's out on loan at the moment. So there's plenty of work to do for behind the scenes. And do you know what, though? I don't feel sorry for them. That's their job, to coin Roy Keane. That is their job behind the scenes, to go out there and start building the team for next season. So it's going to be interesting for both of our teams, though, lads, because I spoke to you last night, Pete, and I asked you the question, didn't I? If you don't get Europe next season, what does that look like for Newcastle United? And yes, do you know what? You can see and you know my thoughts on this, lads, the silly stories about, your Bruno being linked with United. Absolutely not. Will never happen. Tonali's been linked again. Yeah, right. There's loads. There's loads of stories that are being linked. And whereas with Manchester United, it'll be who's coming in. Unfortunately, if you don't get Champions League or any European football, with your boys, it'll be who's going out. So it's unwanted for you guys. You've got a big summer ahead just as much as we have.
Yeah, massive summer. It is a massive summer, and you're right. They are going to be both big summers. But for me, I want. He's gone again. I want two. Yeah, I want two different summers though. Like with you, the one thing I don't want, and I think most Newcastle United fans will feel exactly the same. We do not want to be going for the same players. That's that for me. It won't matter to you, Dan, but for me, Dan, and Chris, and every other Newcastle fan that are watching this show right now, we've got nearly 300. So big up to you all. Hit those likes, do all that good stuff. But ultimately, we want to be going for players that we know we've got a great chance of getting. But that takes time. That takes effort. That takes planning. Exactly what you're saying about Michael Carrick is the same for Newcastle and Eddie Howe. That decision cannot be made. So, as I've said to you boys, and I said it on Talk Man, I said it on here many a time, the only way I see Eddie Howe leaving is if he walks. For me, him deciding to do that post-season or just before the end of the season is no good for Newcastle United, right? Because then you got to think of a new manager coming in, and then by the time they've even got their feet under the table, you're already looking at July, and a lot of deals have already been done. If that's going to happen, it needs to happen way before the season. We need to know mid-April time, so we can get a manager in place ready for May, so they've got then the full summer to do their business. But I think he's going to stay, personally. And so for me, him and Ross Wilson right now should be planning for the summer. We talked about it last year. We thought, June, not really going to do any deals, but maybe get some prepared for July. We did with Alanga in the end. We need to be going early June. We need to be going pre-World Cup and getting maybe 1-2 players in the door. So at least first day of training, Eddie Howe's got someone a couple of new faces to work with. Because we've got Gordon. We might have Malik Chow, Nick Voltemada. They're all going to be at the World Cup, just like you're going to have a load of your players doing exactly the same. So we're going to have players ready to walk through the door. And that's the other thing as well. I don't want us to be going off, and I don't think we will, signing players that have had good World Cups, because we know how that's the best thing you could do.
We're all three of us on this panel are old enough, and there's probably people in the chat that are old enough. I remember the worst thing United did was they went and signed Kleberson off the back of the 2002 World Cup because he had a couple of decent games. The guy was pony. He was awful. And
you signed him ahead of us. We were
I remember. Yeah, I remember. And this is the problem, though, isn't it, now? Like, and we talk about managers here. This is where I kind of think we are in the same scenario here, because let's be honest here. The manager market, who's out there? Like, people say to me, oh, but, there's some world-class managers out there that we should be going to get. And I'm like, go on and name them. Name them, because De Zerbi isn't world-class. Do you know what I mean? Glasner isn't world-class. His stock's driven right off a planet. Then you're looking at people. for me, the only people you can look at that I go, oh, Nagelsmann, don't want him at all. We spoke on my channel about Nagelsmann, Tuchel, and people and Martinez. The problem with those signings is they're at the World Cup. Yeah. They're not going to get to their new team. Bearing in mind, if they, as soon as they're knocked out or they win the competition, they fly back and they go, right, next day I'm straight at work. It doesn't matter. Our manager needs to be there when the World Cup is on. Needs to be there with the lads who are still training, with the youth, with the people sorting out the transfers. So I thought about Eddie Howe a lot with regards to what you do with him. And Pete, I'll be honest with you, I don't think he goes either, because who else is really out there? I mean, look, in an ideal world, you'd look at maybe Luis Enrique would be the man, wouldn't he? I think if there's anyone that's world class out there, but he ain't going. He ain't going anywhere. Fabregas, Queen Sophie says Fabregas. I mean, is Fabregas ready to do that yet?
We've talked about Fabregas, I'll be honest with you. Like, before the turn of the calendar year, I've been watching Como a little bit, just to see his style of play, how he works, and it's impressive what he's doing. It's impressive what he's doing, but he's not world class either. He's not a guy that comes in and is instantly better than Eddie Howe, because he hasn't done it as long. He's got new ideas, and he might bring something new to the table, which is great, but that doesn't instantly mean success.
No.
He'd be on my list, but he's not the experienced manager that's got the know-how that I'd be looking for to take us on. Because let's face it, as you just said, there's nobody out there. The managerial merry-go-round is literally like the worst I've seen it in a long, long time.
Agree.
In a long, long time. So it's all right wanting your manager out, but you've only got to look down the road at Charlie's boys. The amount of managers they've churned in and out, and they haven't done it, so instantly changed. They've kept their mentality. If they're not doing it, get them out, get someone else in. But they've already been round the circle once. They're almost trying to go through it again.
Same with Forest. Just the season on.
Spurs as well. I mean, Spurs are all over the place with it. It's hard because back in the day there were so many managers out there. You'd look at it and you'd go, oh my God, we can go out there and we can have a real look here. But I think in this day and age, with it being World Cup year as well, I think it's a massive gamble to appoint a new manager, because you need to make sure that manager is ready to come from the last game of the season. When that last game of the season's over, that new manager is helping the manager going out, clear his things to take his desk. So there's a lot riding for a lot of clubs this summer. I mean, you know, we just mentioned Spurs. If Tudor keeps him up, he ain't staying there. They'll be looking elsewhere. So look, this whole transfer market this season, I think this is going to be, I say it every year, but this year I mean it. This one is going to be the strangest one I think we've seen yet, because we know with the World Cup there's embellished prices. We know obviously World Cup tax goes on there. Don't be surprised if our clubs look at teams that aren't in the World Cup and look for players. Look at these gems that are hidden around. Do you know what I'm saying?
We have to.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like us, Newcastle. We have to do that. we need players to be ready to go. We need players that are there ready to go. People will all look at the World Cup. We'll all do it ourselves. We'll look at that player. Oh, love him at Newcastle. He's having a great World Cup. Oh, I love him at Newcastle. He could fit in here, there, and there. And everyone always does that. But actually, we need to be smarter. We need to be looking in other directions. Whilst the World Cup's on, I want us to go about our business in a real smart way, picking up signings. Well, let them do that over in America, Canada, in Mexico, and we're just going and doing our business. We're picking up our players, and then we've got the bulk of our players. Obviously, we'll have a load at the World Cup, but hopefully all of our signings at their first day pre-season, and they get that 6 weeks that Eddie Howe keeps talking about to really nail in so we can hit the ground running. But look, Daz, I'll bring you, Dan, Chris, as well. We'll bring you onto this one. You know, as Dan's just said, massive summer for both teams. Like, at this moment in time, what are you expecting, Daz? What are you expecting from Newcastle United from our perspective, from our point of view?
Yeah, no, touching back to what Dan said, and I hope we're not in this shopping in the same circles. We kind of talked about it in a show a few weeks ago, or a few days ago even, that we got burned so much this summer. Every player we seem to go for someone else, nipped in ahead of us, especially when we needed a striker. But yeah, I'm expecting Ross Wilson has and Eddie Howe Andy Howe, they have their targets all lined up, as in they know exactly what they're doing, and they go early to bring in what we need. You know what? Maybe this is the time to play this little thing. It's only a minute long, so bear with me on this one. But okay. I think we need something a bit special, a bit special that we've been missing. And along with everything else, we need a lot of reinforcements. But I hope Ross Wilson, I hope he's looking for a Maverick. Shake that thing.
I really thought you were
Ross Wilson
on there then.
Bring me a Maverick. as well as a keeper, midfielder, another striker, and everything else, please.
Go and get Santiago Munez. What a striker he was for Newcastle.
You missed one of the Mavericks out there. You missed Laurent Robert, man.
No, I did.
Mate, Laurent Robert in my childhood, I loved Laurent Robert. Was it him that knocked Bernard out with a ball?
Yeah.
What a player, man. What a player.
That was on purpose, Pete, because I don't class him as like he delivered. He always delivered. Mavericks don't always deliver, but they have that little je ne sais quoi. The reason why he's
no, that's fair. Well. Absolutely fair. No, I hear you. So look, Chris, from your point of view, I'm going to switch tact here. From your point of view, what are you expecting from tomorrow night? Because I'll be honest, my feelings about this game are in the toilet. Dan knows this. He thinks I'm playing the game.
Don't do
that. We're not, honestly. We're not.
Here we go.
Do you know what? No, honestly, Dan, it's not even like a double bluff or anything, mate. This season, and Daz mentioned it earlier on, like I've been banging the positivity drum. We'll turn it round.
I've seen it through painful eyes, mate. I've seen it through your pained eyes. I've seen it, mate.
Oh, Dan, I am broken. I'm broken, mate. And to the point, you know, all me red and blue mates have been going, oh, we'll turn it round. We're only 4 points off top 5. We're only 6 points off top 5. And literally, I've just seen it just crumble in front of me. And like, you know, I'm trying to, as I mentioned at the start, I'm trying to stay positive about the Champions League, trying to stay positive about the FA Cup because we're still in it. But Pete and Daz have been saying it for a while now. But I literally, if somebody said to me now, you can just scrap the rest of the Premier League games, I would.
That was me last season, mate. That was me last season.
It's just so depressing. And honestly, and I mean this, and it's genuine. It is nice to see you having turned that corner. Because I know for it was a good 18 months, 2 years where it was just depressing. Yeah, it was just turning up, and especially 12th man, because obviously there's nowhere to hide this living. You've got fans of other clubs and they're puffing the chests out, and you're turning up and you're losing games, you're dropping points, and it's a bit. And this is kind of where we are now, Dan. And you know, in terms of what I expect tomorrow, Pete, the genuine answer is I don't know. Because when it's a big team, and obviously playing against Man United, it does hold that prestige, regardless of where they are in the league. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Gordon turned up and scored 2. But then I think it would actually irritate me, because then I'd go, where's this been all season? Why have you not done this all season? I'm in the big games, and I don't mean big as in what it means for the team. I mean big as in the opposition. We give a good go. We give a bloody good go, but when you're playing against, you know, your Palaces, your Wolves, your Fulhams, and you just Brentford, Bournemouth, and you're going, what was that? What was that at Everton? What on earth am I watching? And then you see us in the Champions League, and you think, bloody hell, we look half decent here. And this has been the frustration for me. This is kind of where the the anger's coming from, because I'm thinking I feel like we've just thrown it away. And honestly, if you could rip the rule book up and say to players, you're gone, and then Daz is playing that video and I'm seeing Ben Arthur, I'm seeing Ginola, Tino, and I'm just like, oh my God, it doesn't have to be. And this has been my frustration, particularly over the last 2 years with the transfer windows, as I'm sure Daz and Pete feel the same. It doesn't have to be the perfect guy. It doesn't have to be the guy who tracks back. It doesn't have to be the guy who is an ultimate professional. I kind of want somebody to just come in and just get bums off seats where you're just like, wow, that little bit of genius. And you must be there now, Dan, with your Cunhas, your Mbermos, your Seskos. There'll be occasions where they don't turn up or they have a poor game, but then all of a sudden, bam, like that goal against Everton. It was just ball over the top, ball into the box, Sesko finishes it, and you're just like, wow. Just a split-second moment, and you just think, that's just brilliant. And that's what I want. And I just don't see it anymore. And Pete mentioned it on 12th Man. I don't enjoy watching us at the minute. I don't enjoy it. I just don't.
Not at all.
We've not got the best record though ever. I think last time we won at yours was 2020. I think that was we've got a horrendous record there. And the thing about the Premier League this season is as we know, you can be banging form, but something happens and it changes it completely. Now, I go back to what I said before with United. The last 3 games, we kind of haven't been great, but that's because we've been playing teams with a lower block who set up in a certain way. Newcastle at St James's Park. I fully expect you guys to come out tomorrow. I fully expect you to push, and you're going to have to, aren't you? Now, with that does play into Manchester United's hands because, as people have been putting in the comments, Brian on the break, Cunha on the break. Bruno at the moment seems to be unlocking Sesko every time. And we had a conversation, Pete, we touched on it slightly last night. We had a conversation when I was last on the show in the last preview, and I said, I rate him. He just doesn't fit this team. He doesn't fit Now we fast forward. This guy's banging form, and this guy is scoring every sort of goal. It's not just lump it up top to the big man and hope he gets something on it. He's involved in the build up of play. The header on the weekend was just fantastic. That was a proper striker's goal. But then people also think that this guy can't run. And against Everton, I think Tarkowski's still chasing him now. He's quick. He's deceptively quick. So it's one of those games tomorrow for me where if you're asking me right now, I take a point all day long. I take a point and I move on to the Villa game where I think we'll beat Villa quite comfortably. Against you guys, I love you guys, but I hate playing you because Newcastle, when they turn up against United, they turn up and they do turn up. Now, yes, granted, and I'm sure we'll go on to it with the team news in a bit. I know that you are missing a few players, and I think Voltemade is another one now, isn't he? I think I've got the bloody lurgy. You must have called it off me, but you are missing some big players. If you ask me, do I like playing Newcastle without Bruno? Absolutely, because Bruno to you is what my Bruno is to me. He is the lad that gets it right. He gets it ticking. I do think Tonali's come into it a bit more recently. I do like the look of Tonali, and he's someone we're going to have to watch. But it just at the moment, it's a difficult game to say where it's going to go. On form, you go United surely, but I can't do it. I can't sit there and confidently, when Pete was saying you're going to smash us, I can't do it. I just can't. Last time we played, I had a sneaky suspicion. My heart said we might get a win against you, but my head was all over the place, and it's exactly the same today. Confidence is fantastic, but I think the last 3 games, United need to change something up. Now, will that change against the team that comes at us? Maybe so. So it's going to be an intriguing game tomorrow.
Yeah, it will. And this season more so than ever, Dan. We've seen crazy results throughout the whole league. Absolutely mental. Even now, and I know you boys have probably already spoken about this, but I look at Arsenal, top of the league, and they don't look like title winners to me. They just don't. And City haven't been great. Liverpool have fell off a cliff. Chelsea are inconsistent. Your boys, you're obviously the most consistent at the moment. Villa look like they could potentially be bottling it.
Something? I took I don't know if you're on the show, Pete. I don't know if you're away or not. I love Potts to death. Potts is one of my favourite people out there. He really is. I took such offence to when he said, shame on the rest of the league for it being so poor. And I thought, well, surely if the league's that poor, Arsenal should absolutely be running away with this by 15 points. I couldn't believe that. Couldn't believe the comment with that. And I think that's where Arsenal fans are a different breed. We know that.
It's
Arsenal fans.
Man.
It is. They hate it. They hate it. They ask why we don't like them. It's because they make it so easy to not like them. They make it so easy. The world's against them. Like this season, just concentrate on your team because you've been here several times before where you've had that lead in the Premier League and you've dropped it. Go and concentrate on that. Put your energy on that. So, yeah, I don't take comments like that very well. In fact, I bloody hate it. I hate it.
Yeah. The comments that you just got to ignore to a point. Look, the league hasn't been great, and I think that's probably our biggest frustration. That the league hasn't been great. We had a chance to exploit it again and rise up the table, and we haven't done it. We've followed the league's form, and that's why we're in the position that we are in. Look, yes, we've got a good, good form against you at St James's Park. It counts for nothing this season. Previously, I'd have probably turned around and gone, "Yeah, we'll stick to form. We'll beat you." But we've been smashing Spurs at St James's for years, and they still took a point from us. You know what I mean? Like, so we're just in that mode where we're just dropping points, even in games that we probably shouldn't. And that's the big thing. You talked about players that you've got from the attacking end, the likes of Cunha, like Brian Mbeumo. You got Sesko, Bruno Fernandes, all those key players, and you're making yourself hard to beat. But I just had a little question because Michael Carrick did do his press conference earlier on today, and he did talk about players that might not be there. Now he has confirmed that Sandro Martinez isn't going to be playing, that he's going to be out of the game. I don't know whether you can confirm either way, Dan, on this. You got any more information? But obviously Harry Maguire went off injured towards the end of the game, and so did Luke Shaw. They both got replaced. So do you know whether they're going to be there? It's a bit of
theirs was illnesses, mate. It was illness. I think there's something going around the bloody Premier League at the moment. They were both ill. He confirmed after the game. Luckily, it wasn't injuries. So I expect Harry Maguire completely to start. Harry Maguire has been so important to United this season, and how many redemption arcs does this guy get? How many redemption arcs? He's been fantastic, and he's so important for the way Manchester United play. He's so important for the squad there. So I think they turn up. And do you know something? Queen Sophie in the chat, we had a conversation at the start of the season, and I said Harry Maguire was better than Burn, and she said absolutely not. I'd be intrigued to ask her now, based on this season, what her thoughts are on that. I really would.
As a player, Harry Maguire is better than Dan Burn. I don't think there's a question on that. He's had bad form as Harry Maguire. And Burn maybe has been a little bit more consistent with his performance, but at the highest level, I think Harry Maguire's played at a higher level than Burn has. Burn hasn't reached the level that Harry Maguire's played at, which that's just my opinion on it. The boys might have a different opinion on it, but I just had a second question to throw back to you. Do you think he will be in the England squad for the World Cup?
I think he has to be. Not potentially as a starter, but you take a Harry Maguire to the World Cup, you take that experience. And you know something, what I'll say about Thomas Tuchel, fair play to him, because he hasn't picked play. He's left Harry Maguire out of the squad. Luke Shaw was playing week in, week out, and he's left them and said, no, they weren't playing in the formation I want to play. And I thought that was bang on. Mainu obviously has been fantastic since, I always say since coming back, but it feels like he has come back. It feels like he's been away for a year and a half. Kobbie Mainoo just does things so simple. And I think, again, in the midfield, does Kobbie Mainoo start for England? Absolutely not. There are a lot better midfielders out there at the moment. But I do think Harry Maguire goes. I think, obviously, we got, when's the next? I think it's this month, isn't it? The group of friendlies.
End of March.
I don't think he's released the squad yet, but I'd be very surprised if Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, and Kobbie Mainoo aren't in that squad at least, because I think he's pretty much said, hasn't he? This is the last chance for a lot of players to get on, to essentially get themselves on the plane. But yeah, Harry Maguire has been fantastic for United this season. I think this is the thing I was quite gutted about, actually. When I saw Voltemade was injured, that really annoyed me, because Voltemade up top is Harry Maguire's dream, because Harry Maguire loves it in the air. He wants a duel in the air. I think with Gordon, it's a whole different side. And with Lisandro Martinez missing, Lenny Yoro, he had a good game against Everton. He was decent, but against Palace, he was all over the place. Still a young lad himself. So, I mean, don't forget, lads, when I talk about how close United squad are to it going completely Pete Tong, we finished the game with Aidan Heaven and Lenny Yoro at centre-back against Palace.
that means nothing, because that same partnership beat us on Boxing Day at your place, didn't it?
We finished the game with 27 defenders on the pitch against you. Jesus Christ!
That's what it felt like, because we couldn't score, we couldn't hit a barn door against you on Boxing Day, which was a huge frustration. But you did mention Nick Voltemade. Nick Voltemade, he's ill as well. He's ill. So, like you said, the bug is going around. He hasn't trained for 2 days. Eddie House is going to give him every chance to be able to play. So they haven't made a decision on him yet, but the likelihood is that he's not going to play. Obviously, Jacob Ramsey, bless him, just come back on the pitch at half time and then is throwing up and has to leave. But Jacob Ramsey is back. He has trained yesterday. He trained again today, and there's a likelihood that he'll play, which is a huge boost. To Newcastle United from that point of view. But I just want to talk about this man for a second. I think it's a topical conversation, because there's been a lot of talk about Nick Voltemade recently, not necessarily from fans, but in the media. It was Adrian Durham of TalkSport that brought it out that he labelled Nick Voltemade as the worst signing in Premier League history. Now, look, I want to get an outsider's point of view first. Dan, I'll ask you this question. Like, surely that's bullshit.
It's absolutely nonsense. At the start of the season, we were all talking about how well this lad had done to come from Germany, and he'd hit the ground running. Unfortunately, at the moment, and this is where, look, for the people, for your community that are watching this, and anybody watching it on playback, and my community and the YouTube community, this is why the YouTube game, and it is a game of opinions, is growing like it is, because we have proper opinions. Like, we have to listen to these bozos on these talk shows that come out and say these things. And I don't understand what makes them think they can say it. They're dinosaurs in the game. Now, Voltemade at the moment is struggling with form. There are people I saw in your chat saying he's been moved into midfield. He's been moved all over the place. A player out of form is always going to get pelters. Benjamin Sesko at the start of the season, everyone was calling him Benjamin Tesco. I couldn't understand why. I genuinely, I know Daz is smiling. I remember him calling it. I remember you.
I've never used that phrase.
But
it was more to Saeed than you.
Okay, but what I will say is, like, look, goal scoring in the Premier League has become a harder job to do. It has over the last, unless your name's Haaland, it is a harder job to do, because gone are the days where you are playing with a support guy up there who can do something to link you in, blah, 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 blah. At the moment, you're looking at a team that are struggling. The form shows it. So Voltemade, he isn't the worst. I mean, fucking hell. How many do you want to go on United alone? We spent 90 million on Anthony. Anthony.
There you go.
Right to reply here. Sorry, Dad. Right to reply. Yeah. We've been talking about Benjamin Sesko for about 4 years in this channel, at least 3.5, and we've been singing his praises, and we were all delighted that we were linked to it with him. I've never called him Benjamin Tesco, and I even remember saying that if he was to leave Man United, we should consider buying him, because I just thought that the next club he goes at, that he would excel at, and I think at the time I was saying that Eddie Howe could get a tune out of him. But so. Just make
it really irritated, because, like, you know, Wolfie knows what he do. Look, Wolfie knows what he's doing. I mean, like, when you talk to him off air, I won't let everybody into the secret too much, but he is one of the nicest people you can meet. I love that man, but he says it to get a reaction, and I just sat there and I thought, how can you say this about a lad who's come into a team that we all know does not suit the style? In fact, do you remember the conversation we had, lads, before Christmas? I said, no, it was just after Christmas. I said, Sesko in your team scores goals. Sesko in your team scores goals. Now, because of the formation we play, what happens? Sesko's got 7 and 8 because we're playing to his strengths. It's just football is a weird old game, but Voltemada will be fine. I mean, I saw reports and I saw you in the chat about it, Pete, with people saying, "Oh, he's off in the summer." He ain't off in the summer. He needs what he needs is players around him that can bring him into his game. That's what he needs, because at the moment, the way you guys play, Gordon doesn't do that for him. Like, Gordon doesn't bring him into the game enough for me. I don't think he does enough. A lad like Voltemada needs to be served. He needs to be served his dinner. He can't go out there into the woods finding it and hunting it himself. He needs it served. Once you've got that, and I thought Elanga might have done that, because he can do bits, but I don't think nowhere near the worst bloody signing in. No. I think they do it. Do you know what they do? Because I will say it, they're old and so far out of the time. They do it for views, I think. I genuinely think they do it to stay current.
100%. Remember that drive, that TalkSport drive they used to do at 4:00? I used to listen to it on the way home. Stopped listening to that a long time ago. And they used to have the worst takes ever. And it was just to get people, it was just to rage bait people. People would be ringing in, they'd be lighting up, calling in just to go mad at Adrian Durham for his take. And the amount of TalkSport became a global force just off that alone.
But Pete, have you seen what they do now? This is what they do now to combat people like us, YouTube people. What they do, they don't go against these YouTubers. They don't bring them in and speak to them themselves. They leave them to Simon Jordan. And Simon Jordan's very well spoken, and Simon Jordan can turn anybody into a knot. This is what riles me. You have to listen to Jamie O'Hara talking about football. Like, what does that guy know about football? It baffles me. And again, that's why I say this game that we are in, this game of opinions, that's why it's going through the roof. That's why you're constantly getting new subscribers, Pete and Daz and Chris, because people are interested in what us average men who haven't played the game before, but you can bet we've watched thousands of games. We've seen different eras of football. We are here to stay. We are always going to be here to stay, because all we've done is moved it from us stood at a bar talking about it to us talking on a camera and talking about it now. They hate the fact that we are doing what we're doing, because they know and they realise that people are starting to listen to us more. Simple.
Yeah. Dan, can I just ask a very quick question? Sorry, just coming in the chat, and I thought it's really good semifinals, yeah. What's your take on that, Dan, from DXLE? Would Rasmus Højlund, would he have fared any better under Carrick?
No, because I look at the goals that Sesko's scoring. Rasmus Højlund can't score those goals. I wouldn't have trusted Rasmus Højlund to be able to get on the end of that cross on Sunday. I wouldn't have trusted Rasmus Højlund to have the tactical nous to lay the ball back, turn and sprint and leave someone for dead. The ball used to completely bounce off him. Look, again, with Rasmus Højlund, another one he was a United fan, and fair play to him. He wanted to do well, but he had so many opportunities. He had one decent run where he went 7 and 7, then got injured. I think his time at United's done. Fair play to him. Go and enjoy Italy. It's the same with Xerxes. Xerxes is exactly the same. Xerxes will go back to Italy in the summer, I should imagine, and probably go to scoring 10, 15 goals a season. Brilliant. The Premier League is not as simple as people think. It is a quicker division to play in. The game is a lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, just with the Nick Voltemada situation, I think the calling him the worst sign in Premier League history, and just some of the negativity that he's got, I just think it's just not okay. Look, we know there's areas of his game that he needs to work on. We know, look, he's 24 years old. Like, he's nowhere near his prime yet. Like, he's still young and developing in a new country, first season in the Premier League. The lad scored 10 goals. And he's got 14 goal contributions this season. How that can be considered poor or the worst of a signing is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And now he's playing out of position. We as a three on this panel were all okay with the thought of Nick Voltemada playing in a 4-3-2-1. Being in that number 10, in that little pocket where he can play and he can turn and he can face goal and he can affect the game that way. We saw it at Villa. He was almost playing in that 10, even though he was apparently in midfield 3. He was almost playing in that 10, picking out spaces in that little pocket. But to play him in a midfield 3, for me, is wrong. And to do it when you've got Joe Linton, who is a midfielder now and has been for a good few years now, to be playing out of position is not okay for me. That experiment needs to end.
Is that because of what he did with? Is that because Eddie's done that because of what he did with Joe Linton? Because remember, Joe Linton, that trial of him going into midfield was against none other than us. I remember it was a 0-0 draw and he was incredible. I just wonder if he thinks I could probably do that again. Now you signed the guy as a striker, Pete, and I don't care what anyone says. There are other players in your team that could easily do that. You know, Lewis Hall can move forward into midfield if needs be. That there are other things to do it, and that change that Eddie did there, that was a hint of desperation for me. That was a hint of I ain't got a clue what I can do here. I don't know what I can do to try and change this up. Hang on, Nick's got a good touch, and then maybe we drop him back and see if he. It's desperation. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
For me, look, Chris, jump in on this one as well, with your take, because just for me, I find it very much. I don't think it's I did it with Joe Linton, so let's do it with Nick Vautomaata. I don't see it like that. I see it more of he needs his striker to have pace. Alexander Isak was rapid on the last man, in and behind, working the channels. He could press well, better than I think we even thought he did. Now we've seen other strikers do it. He was very good at pressing high, and he allowed his tactic to work. He's now seen Anthony Gordon come in and press high, work the channels, running in behind. Couldn't finish for Toppy up until Karabakh in front of goal, like in game. But he saw 90% of what Isak could do, and he saw Anthony Gordon doing it, and thought, that's the way we need to go. And I think that was because of desperation. He needed to see something that worked to what he was used to. Yeah. And he's just sacrificed. He sacrificed Nick Vautomaata on the bench, and he was barely getting any minutes. And it's like, right, how can I get him in and get him minutes and play him? And it was almost like, right, we put him in that little pocket. He tested it out against Bournemouth. I thought it worked well. It did work well because he got an assist off it. He played really well. And then he's tried it again a little bit later down the line. That's kind of why I've seen him do it. But I just think he's dropped too deep. He's too deep now. He's too far away from goal. And we're missing what we brought him for. But Chris, your perspective on Nick Vautomaata and some of the stick that's been kind of thrown his way.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, the stick thrown his way. I mean, Dan brought up a really good example when he spoke about Anthony. Like, to suggest that Nick Vautomaata is the worst Premier League signing in history is just ridiculous. And it is a clickbait. It is to try and encourage Newcastle United fans to kick off and ring in and all stuff like that. And shame on Adrian Durham for doing that. But yeah, in terms of going forward with Nick Vautomaata, I mean, me personally, and I know you boys share the same feelings, or I think you do, Nick Vautomaata really needs to play in a 4-2-3-1, or he needs to play in a 4-3-3, but where the striker isn't like Alexander Isak, in that he's a little bit deeper. And it goes back to the conversation we had on the last show, boys, in that, you know, we know that he plays that formation for Germany, but Germany's wingers are a lot different to our wingers. And Dan, you won't know that we spoke about this, but we've been highly critical.
I watch your shows, Chris. Don't say that.
No.
I may have.
Not every show, but I know you tune in. But I think you know, the wingers this season have let us down. I mean, if you look on the left-hand side, we've got Anthony Gordon, Harvey Barnes, and on the right-hand side, we've got Jacob Murphy, and we've got Anthony Elanga. Now, if you look at the goals and assists that they've returned, and if you take away penalties, it's simply not good enough. Now, if we had highly functional wingers, if you only have to look at Jacob Murphy last season, all the assists that he got for Alexander Isak, putting it on a plate for him. If we had highly functioning wingers, I think you would see a better Nick Vautomaata. If we had different type of wingers who were cutting inside, but almost, you know, providing that threat, providing that support for Nick Vautomaata to feed off a player. We see it for Germany, like I mentioned, you know, Florian Wirtz is buzzing all around him, Leroy Sané, Serge Gnabry, players like that who are all there supporting Nick Vautomaata. He needs players who are there. I mean, how many times have we seen these lovely intricate touches, these little flicks? We've been drooling over them at times. But the way that we play in this system, Nick Voltemade hasn't got anyone within about 20, 25 yards of him.
Agree.
So when the ball's coming in the air, he's like flicking it on, or it's bouncing off him, and there's nobody there. There's no option. And the frustration for me with Eddie this season in relation to Nick Voltemade, it's exactly what Pete says. It's that I think the difficulty is he's realised that Anthony Gordon is his guy in that number 9 role, which is absolutely fine if that's the case. But he's then got to justify spending 55 million on Johan Wissa and 67 million on Nick Voltemade and not playing either. So he's thinking, well, I'm going to have to play one of them. And he's like, well, Nick can play in the centre of midfield. And yes, it did pay off against Bournemouth. And yes, technically, he is a very, very good player. But long-term going forward, he's so different to the likes of Joe Linton, who's like bustly and not the most technically gifted, but he provides you with other things. Nick Voltemade is there to provide that, those tricks, those flicks, his vision. He can see passes that other players can't see. But in the centre of midfield, in the way that this team is set up, it doesn't suit Nick Voltemade. So you either go to a 4-2-3-1 or you play in a 4-3-3 system, but you change your wingers, or you drag your wingers in and go, boys, you're going to have to give him a hand here, because at the moment he looks isolated. And I feel sorry for him. I really, really do feel sorry for him.
Apparently he's a good lad as well, isn't he? A good lad around the club as well. And I think that's the whole thing, isn't it? Like, these players, they need to be good lads. They need to be decent around the club. And I think you need to be bringing players in around him. I think you need to be bringing players in around him, because at the moment it's a waste. And we go back to what Sesko was doing under Amorim, playing in that 3-4-2-1, whatever it was. He was flicking the ball on. No one was there. He was bringing no one was there. If you've got far too much of a gap between the two players, what are you expecting to happen?
For me, Eddie Howe and Tyndall, they need to be watching what Bayern Munich are doing with Harry Kane. There's a reason why Nick Voltemade is being primed for the role of striker at Bayern Munich. Is because when Harry Kane eventually leaves, they've got a player with the same skill set as Harry Kane that can come in. Not as good a striker yet, not showing that. But Harry Kane didn't show it until later on into his 20s anyway, their visibility. But they've got a player of the same ilk. Harry Kane drops deep, links the play in midfield from a deeper area. But the difference is he has runners constantly beyond him, with the likes of Elise making those runs, those Serge Gnabry type runs, running in and beyond. They've got that. Musiala running in and behind is the additional guy. They've got that. That's what we're missing. You don't pay £69 million and go, you fit our style, or you're not going to be in the team. That doesn't work. If you're going to invest that sort of money in him, you've got to find a way of working. My problem is, to kind of answer Chris's point, is I don't think we've got the wingers to do it. I don't think we've got the wide men to do it. No. They do play too wide. We've said it on this channel before. But the problem is, I don't think our wingers know how to play a different style. I think the only one that may be able to adjust to it, interestingly, is Anthony Elanga. But he's nowhere near the level right now. His confidence is on the floor. He's still adjusting to Premier League football, playing for Newcastle United, not Premier League football in general, but playing for Newcastle United in the Premier League is very different to Forest, who were a counter-attacking team. But I don't think, and this is why I say two wingers are going to have to leave in the summer. One on the left, one on the right. And the new ones that come in are going to have to play Nick Voltemade's way. Yeah. It's the only way you're going to make it work. But just to end it on there, because we have had a good discussion on it, long discussion, but good one on that one, is that just to end that one there, is that, as we've all said on this panel, including Dan, is that the stick for Nick Voltemade is a disgrace, and the players, the players are fully behind him, the manager's fully behind him, and the fans in reaction in the last 24 hours are fully behind him. And everyone that's been asking for a tifo of Nick Voltemade, I second that. And I hope that War Flags are in the process of getting something done to show our appreciation for him, because 14 goal contributions in your first Premier League season, it ain't bad going.
No.
It ain't bad going at all. And there's more to add, I think, between now and the end of the season, but we've got to play him in his right position. Lads, we're going to come to the tactics board. This is it now. Tactics and team selection. And Dan, as always, we start with the opposition team. So Man United should be on the bottom of your screen. So start from the goalkeeper.
It's got to be Semi. Ace of saves. The ace of saves. It's got to be Lemmy. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, it picks itself, and I find myself like it's weird celebrating a goalkeeper doing the basics so well, but that is what we've missed for so long.
Yeah.
The back four, it'll be Dallo at right back. Dallo's not missing this game. I think he will start Luke Shaw there. I mean, look, we've got Mazraoui that can play there if needs be.
Yeah.
And then I think it'll be Harry Maguire. And I just wonder if to protect him, whether he will bring in Heaven. But I will go with Yoro. We'll go with Yoro. But I think he should be playing Heaven in this game. I think Heaven had a decent game against you boys last time. But I think back four-wise, providing illness, they come back from illness, okay, I think that's the back four United play. And then,
why not Yoro? Why protection? What do you mean by that?
I thought against Palace, mate, he was ripped to pieces. He
was Yoro.
Yeah. Yoro wasn't great. He wasn't against Everton, which strangely enough, Everton far more physical than Palace. I thought he'd have struggled, but it was the other way around. Yoro's got to find consistency. He's had opportunities at United. He's not lit the ground up, and people forget we did pay 50 million. Now, look, I'm happy to say he's young and he'll learn. But when you look at the fact if Lisandro Martinez is there, we know that Martinez plays. He's finding himself a lot further down the pecking order because Heaven's played a lot of football this season. So I think Yoro will start, but Yoro's on my watch list at the moment because I think he needs to improve his game.
Just a quick one on De Ligt before we move on to midfielders. Where was he?
Who's that? I think he played for us once, didn't he? Oh my God, man. Honestly, he's another one for me that's on the sell list in the summer because he just can't stay fit. Like De Ligt at the start of the season, brilliant. I thought he was so good. He was solid. I thought he was taking on essentially being almost the captain of the team. He was brilliant with the lads, and I just think we're really struggling to see him come back. It's a back issue that just seems to have rolled on and on and on. The talk now is that he'll be back after the international break. Well, there's only 5 or 6 games then. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame. But then also equally, I would say, can Harry Maguire and De Ligt play in a back two together with that lack of pace? I'm not sure they can.
No, that's a fair point. Midfield then. How's it looking for you?
Oh, easy, mate. Kobbie Mainoo and Uncle Norbed. Kobbie Mainoo and Uncle Norbed straight in there, absolutely. And do you know something? I've got to give him. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm standing by it. Casemiro is my player of the season for United. I think he's been top class. Now it has benefited him playing 1 game a week. I think if we were seeing a 50, 60 game season, we wouldn't have seen the best out of Cassie. But what he has done, he's so good at breaking things up. In that final third, he's so smart in what he does with the opposition players. His passing sometimes can be wayward, but you've got to remember with Casemiro, when we signed him to be an enforcer, essentially that CDM. But this guy scores goals. Like this guy gets on the end of things. And when we have to replace him in the summer, we're going to have to replace a guy that has always been a threat in the opposition box. He brings so much. So that midfield too, I don't think it complements itself by any means necessary, lads. I think there are some issues with the way they play, but for what we've got at the moment, you give me Cassie and Mainoo all day, every day. They've been good, not great, but good.
Good stuff. Above them, then I'm assuming it's number 8.
Oh, mate, I worry. Do you know something? Obviously, Bruno starts there, but I don't know why in my head I've got this suspicion, and I don't know why I can't get out of my head that he goes with the revolving front three tomorrow, and he puts Brian up top, he puts Ahmad on the right, and he puts Cunha on the left. I don't know why. He seems to obviously he played Sesko against Palace, took him off. In an ideal world, I want Sesko to be up top, and I want Brian on the right, and I want and that's that. But I don't know why. I've just got this feeling in my head that he might revert to this because obviously Dan Burn's up there. Dan Burn loves getting a challenge in. I think with the pace you've got with the three, we spoke about Sesko before being quite pacey, but with these three, there is a lot of pace, and they seem to revolve around each other quite well. Personally, I think it'll be Sesko, but there's this little niggle in my head that says he might do this tomorrow.
Interesting. Yeah. There was a conversation about Ahmed actually in the press conference, so about him potentially coming in. So you could well be right there. Let's go to Newcastle's team. We might have a decision in a few areas after the game against Everton, but yeah, Chris, talk to us through it, mate. Talk us through your 11, and then we'll get Daz's thoughts after.
Yeah,
pick Ruddy.
I know Daz is going to press this button. I know he is. I've just got a feeling. But yeah, I'll put out the 11 that I think it should be, and what I would go with. I always try to go with what I think Eddie will go with, but genuinely, you could probably, as you mentioned, Pete, there's probably 3 or 4 players who've got question marks around them. As much as I hate saying it, I think number in goal will be number 1, Nick Pope. Me personally, after last week, I feel like dropping him, if I'm honest. But given the options on the bench, probably not wise to him. So I think it will be Nick Pope in goal, and Adam Bamsdale will get the cup game against City. That's probably what will happen. Left back, of course, will be Lewis Hall.
What a season, so regardless of what you guys. He's so, mate. Honestly, that guy. I think he's phenomenal. I love Lewis Hall. He should be going to the World Cup, by the way. Yeah, he should be one of the first names on the sheet. He's been incredible.
100%.
Yeah. And hopefully he does. He deserves it. Centre backs, I'm going to say Dan Burn, left centre back. Malik Chow, right centre back. And then right back, I think, will be Kieran Trippier.
There's no one else.
There's no one else. No,
he's a busy boy at the moment, Trips. He's a busy boy with his OnlyFans girl, isn't he? Oh.
He is very busy. The positive news on Tino Livramento. He, Eddie Howe said he's not quite ready for the game today. So that gave me an indication that he must be in training, but maybe not ready to be risked in terms of matches. So I've got a feeling we'll see Tino in the next 2, either at Man City at the weekend at St. James's or against Barcelona. I've got a feeling he'll be back for one of those 2 games. So that'll be positive news because, boy, do we need him right now. Jesus.
Any update on Lewis Miley? How far off he
is? Lewis Miley, no update, but from what was said in the press conference before the Everton game, it looked like where it was 2 weeks before that, it's now 2 weeks again. So it's almost like it's a week back. But what he did mention is that they have been told they've got to be careful with him because if they're not, we could lose him for the rest of the season. It's that serious. So it's clearly something that it's either something that they knew was bad initially and are just trying to play it down as a minor thing to kind of like throw people off the case, or it's exactly what Eddie Howe's been saying is that they thought it was a dead leg, turned into muscle damage, and then has become more problematic than they even anticipated because he's been to a specialist to have it checked out, and apparently that's the person that said that they need to be very careful with him. So it must be something relatively serious to be at that point. But you know, what's another week to ensure that he finishes the end of the season? Yeah. The only problem is that we might not have anything to play for by the time he's back. That's the only worry. But
100%.
Carry on, Chris.
I think at the awards ceremony he was asked that question as well, wasn't he? And I think the usual line was peddled. It will be soon, but not imminent. So I think you're right, Pete. I think it'll probably be Champions League time, maybe. Maybe we might see an appearance then, but for me anyway, there would be no point in risking him for this game anyway, which is a bit of a damn squib, as we've already spoken about.
You've actually reminded me on a quote that came from Louis Miley because he did get the Northeast Young Player of the Year award, and actually this is a quote from Louis Miley. Louis Miley said he's targeting the Barcelona second leg,
second leg,
which is 2 weeks time.
Okay. Yeah.
That was a quote direct from him when he was interviewed after winning the award. So there we go. That's exactly what he said.
Oh, brilliant. Now, this is the midfield three I need to see. I need to see this midfield three. If we've got any ambition or any hope of wanting to win this game, this is the midfield three that I would play. So in the holding position would be Sandro Tonali. On the left of the central midfield three would be Joe Linton. And on the right side of the central midfield, I'm hoping and praying it's Jacob Ramsey. That is the midfield three I need to see tomorrow. And if it is, then I'll feel like we've got half a chance. In terms of the forward line, this is a little bit more difficult. I've got Daz mentioned this ages and ages ago, and it keeps ringing in my head. But I'm gonna go against it. I think and I hope that he starts Anthony Elanga on the right-hand side, because this lad needs to be played into form. And I'm sorry, and Dan, you may think I'm saying this as in jest. This is a free hit. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. There's not much to play for here. Play the lad into some form. I don't want to see Jacob Murphy on the right-hand side. Yes, it is at home, but we know what we're going to get from Jacob Murphy. Let's just get this lad on the pitch and let's get some minutes in his legs. Let's just try and play him into some form. So I want Anthony Elanga on the right. On the left, I think he's going to want to play Anthony Gordon through the middle. So I'm going to put Anthony Gordon through the middle, Pete. And I think, even though I would like to see Johan Wissa start, but maybe he's just really not at that, at the required level to do that at the moment. Maybe he's not fully fit. I don't know the ins and outs. He's certainly not. He's not looked very good when he's come on. So maybe Anthony Gordon through the middle is the best option, which would then mean that Harvey Barnes would start on the left.
Okay, Harvey
and
Barnes.
That's the team I would pick.
Okay. That's
okay. Yeah, no, just Chris, I'm going to agree with you on Elanga, because there's no point Jacob Murphy there swinging in beautiful crosses to Anthony Gordon, who won't be there. He'll be in between where Menu and Casemiro, because he wanders about a bit, and that's his style when he's playing up front. And that's the way we play with this with a striker who has a bit of pace and can run about. And that's I leave Gordon where he is as well. The only thing I'm changing, Chris, in your formation, and interesting you've gone back to 4-2-3. We're not going for the 4-2-3-1 that we were playing and blah blah blah. What is Dan Burn? I'm taking Dan Burn out and bringing in
Sven Botman. Yeah, no, to be fair, mate, it's not a bad shout. I had Sven Botman in my mind for the City game, but I listen. I love Sven Botman as much as you, mate. I just have a feeling that I think he'll start with Dan Burn. But me personally, I would choose Sven Botman.
That's not to say, and Dan, this will be music to your ears, that Eddie Howe doesn't put Lewis Hall on the bench and put Dan Burn in there at back.
Don't. If he does that against Brian Mbeumo or Amad Diallo, we may as well just pack up and go home.
Yeah,
may as well just do that. Pete, what are you thinking, mate?
The team is pretty much exactly how I think it will be. My only change was exactly the same as Daz. I'm bringing Sven Botman in. Dan Burn has not been good the last two games, and I said it on our reaction show. Dan Burn, I think, has shown a side of him that I haven't seen before. And I think that tells me a lot about where he is right now in terms of his performances. The arguments that he's getting into, the battle and the physicality that we see at times in games as a good thing, actually is almost a sign of weakness, is because players are getting the better of him. Karabag, for example, that striker, Duran, was running him ragged. And everyone's saying about how bad Karabag were, but he was getting ran ragged on the pitch during those games, and that's not a good sign. He was then arguing and getting booked and making silly fouls against Haaland because he was struggling to keep up. It was the same against Everton. Everton, whose strike force isn't the best, he was really, really struggling defensively to catch up and stay up with players. It didn't look good. I actually think Sven Botman and Malik Chow are the best partnership in the club.
They are.
And I look, let's be honest, they're the future. So we need to be playing them together a lot more. Now, of course, Sven Botman has just come back from injury, but he was on the bench at the weekend. They could have brought him on at some point, but I think they're waiting to give him an opportunity to play. And I think he should play tomorrow. He should. Whether he doesn't or not is another thing, because dropping Dan Burn is something that Eddie Howe does not do, which I think leads into the point that you boys made about the potential of him playing left back, which is what we don't want. That midfield three is as is, and that's what the midfield three should be, isn't it? Isn't it interesting that, you know, like Chris used the words hope and pray that Jacob Ramsey is starting in the team. We weren't, well, I say we, like most fans weren't saying that months ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Which just goes to show the influence that he's having on this team and the difference he's making in this team so far. I agree with you, Alanga. I think I said the other week, I was like, when he was starting to play into form again, I said, starting for the rest of the season, play him in every game you can. Give him the opportunity to get loads of minutes under his belt, to get used to this style of play and the way we play football, because it's the only way he's going to be worth anywhere near the money that we paid for him. I think Gordon up against Maguire and Yoro will, pace-wise, will be good. I think not having the physicality of Altamada will play into our hands to a point, because as Dan mentioned, that's what Maguire and Yoro probably would want. That player that's a little bit more static, that's easily managed, and it's more of a physical battle. That's what Harry Maguire likes. You don't like that pacing and behind and that high press. So Gordon needs to make use of that. I'm not sure what Man United's line is like defensively, whether they're a high line or a low line. I'm not sure.
We go low. We tend it's bizarre when we play teams that come at us. We tend to be higher, but against teams we know are low block, equally we'll sit back a little bit. I think obviously what you said before about the wingers staying too wide. If your wingers stay too wide tomorrow, it's bread and butter for Manchester United, because Diogo Dalot can work on Barnes, Luke Shaw can work on Elanga, and then that leaves Yoro and Maguire for Gordon. I think where you get joy is if you go narrow, well, then you're pulling Casemiro back. Diogo Dalot doesn't know whether to go or whether to stay. So it's interesting. I think if you go narrow, it'll be a different game. Everton 1-0 up already.
We do. This is the problem. This is how Newcastle United play. This is how our wingers play. So you look at that front three, and you look how far the distances are between the three of them. And this is part of Newcastle's problem, is that what we then have to do to bridge the gap is that we do this. So these players play in these pockets. But now, look at if the ball breaks down in any one of these areas, look at who's then counter-attacking. And then look who's exposed because of that.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with Newcastle. And you could see it. You could see it earlier on the season. We have to commit more men forward to supplement the attack because of the fact that our wingers are far too wide.
Yeah.
This is the major problem. Whereas, actually, at times this season, it's annoyed me because it's not happened often enough, is that you see Barnes come inside and make that run into there. And you see Elanga. Who was the game against?
Done it against City. Done it against City when he scored this goal.
Well, that was a run off the wing. But I'm going back to Burnley. Remember when that lad got sent off? When the lad got the red card at St. James's?
It's Steve.
In December. Yeah, Steve. Elanga didn't make the diagonal run from here. He made the run from here. So he was 10, 15 yards further inside.
Yeah.
And he was tucked in at the time. And the ball came from this direction, middle of the pitch, across the line. And he just makes the run across the defender. Defender's nowhere near him, can't catch him, brings him down. And we were.
Pete, this is what Walter Martha needs. This is what Walter Martha needs. Yeah. He needs players in and around him.
But the problem is that when these players have shown those moments and made those runs, Nick hasn't been playing up top. It's been Wieser or it's been Gordon or it's been somebody else. We need those consistent runs inside. So literally in line with the 18-yard line, right here in line is where Eddie Howe really needs to be telling his wingers they need to play. And it's up to these guys here, Trippier, although probably not, but definitely Lewis Hall, to make the runs in and behind to cause problems for Dalot. I think when Tino's back, he can do that.
Pete. I was just
because he's got the work rate. He's got the work rate and he's got the pace to be able to get back in. This is why Tino, in comparison to Trippier, completely like revolutionizes the way we play. Is because both fullbacks can push forward and get back, and it asks a bigger question to the team because we're lopsided. Hall's having to do all that work on the left, so we play a lot of the ball down the left and very rarely on the right hand side because we don't trust his ability to get back and forth. So that's what needs to happen. And then that means that we can add more protection here and stop the counter. We can maybe throw one of those guys forward, and I would throw Joe Linton, and then you've got an opportunity to have a double pivot, which is what we did at PSG, and it worked fantastically well. That's what you've got the ability to be able to move tactically if you've got two wingers that are playing more narrow. Now, either these guys learn how to do it more consistently, or we get two wingers in the summer that know how to do it. It's as simple as that. And that's the way it needs to work. But that's the way that we're going to beat Man United tomorrow. Will it happen? I'm not so sure. But, boys, anything before I take the practice board off? Because we've gone way over what we intended to do.
No, take it away, Pete.
No,
take
nothing
it away.
for me,
Right.
I don't think.
Sorry.
Oh no, mate. I was just going to say no, nothing for me. I don't think. No.
Okay, Dan. And I don't know how long you've got, but have you got 5 minutes or so? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's do a 5-5. Let's see if we can do five questions in 5 minutes or under. We've got five questions for Dan.
Yeah, I think we have. Let's have a look. Oh, well, no, we might not. Oh, this is a good question from David Cook, Dan, and he asks you, will any of the bomb squad return?
Yeah, probably in 15, 20 years to do, evenings and talk about their career, I should imagine. But as far as football goes, absolutely not. Rashford's gone. Rashford, it's quite a sad one with Rashford because he wants to play for Barcelona, and I've got a strong feeling they're going to sign him and sell him. I think they know they can make money on him, but no, there'll be none of the bomb squad. Well, Sancho's contract's up at the end of the season anyway. Garnacho, I think, will be out of the country at the end of the season because it's just completely gone wrong for him. So no, absolutely not.
What about Malacia? Where did he go?
He's still there, bless him. I think he's just making up a space on the bench. He'll be he's on a free transfer in the summer as well.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's a big question for you, Dan. We'll come to that one last. Tom Dixon asked you, Dan, who do you think Man United will offload in the summer, and who will you be looking to sign, or maybe position-wise, what do you think you're looking to sign?
So we need a left back. Left back is so key because Luke Shaw, bless him, has done well this season, but it's because he's been playing one game a week. And let's be honest, it's World Cup year. He's going to be playing out of his skin to get himself back to a tournament. Left back, I think, is an absolute must. I think the two young lads, Harry Amas and Diego Leon, aren't anywhere near where they need to be. We need two midfielders, absolutely. So I think Mason Mount will go. I think Xerxes will go. I think Ugarte will go. Casemiro's obviously gone on a free. And then it's sort of, where do you go from there? I mean, I said on my stream last night, and do you know something? I stand by this. I don't care what anyone says. I stand by this. If I'm United, I've seen he's just signed a bloody extension today. I'd have gone and got back for a season. I really would have, just to be there as that second striker behind Sesko. You've got Chida Obi, who will, I think, start getting more minutes next season. But with relation to who I want, I mean, at left back, I want Robinson from Fulham. I love him. I think he's a decent player. Midfield, I mean, look, we all want the same. We dream the same dream. We want the same thing, don't we? We all want Elliot Anderson. I think 150 teams want him. But if we don't get an Elliot Anderson, the question's out. I mean, Wharton's been linked. Belabor, I don't want Belabor. I think with Belabor, if it is a case of he's thrown his toys out of his pram this season, which is why his form's dipped so much, what stops him if he has 2 or 3 good seasons at United and a Madrid comes calling? Does he do the same there? So Elliot Anderson for me is the key, and then maybe get Stiller in as well if we can bring him in. But yeah, that's who I want. Mason, the thing is, you got to think about it this way as well, lads. When Casemiro goes at the end of the season, the only real big wages we pay is Bruno Fernandes, and you kind of have to say he deserves it for what he's done at the club. The rest of them, I don't think anyone comes anywhere near with regards to how much they earn at the club. So there has been a massive dramatic change in wages at Manchester United. Also, actually, another signing United need to make is we need to tie Harry Maguire down for at least one more year. Just keep him for a year.
Yeah. This I like this one from Jimmy Watt, and because I was thinking the same. Jimmy asks you, what does Dan think about Man United apparently buying the whole Newcastle team? So I think I saw Tino, Bruno, Tonali, Gordon.
It's fake news. It's fake. It's
fake. Question for you, Dan: if you could have one Newcastle United player, given what you've just mentioned there about players that you're looking to bring in, who is it you'd go for? If one, money no object.
Lewis Hall. I think Lewis Hall's a left back that will get better and better, and I think you're looking at a lad that I don't think he's anywhere near his peak. He could be a signing that would just be, he'd hold that left back's position down for 5-10 years easily. So I'd love to say that Bruno Guimaraes, of course, everyone loves Bruno Guimaraes, and I do too, but with Bruno, he costs far too much money. If it was an option, please don't come for me in the chat. Tonali, I've heard you guys say quite a lot of times that he's homesick and it looks like he wants to go back. So I don't see as it being a transfer that we do. Gordon, I'm not sold on Gordon, lads. I'll be honest with you. I've seen players do it in Europe, but go missing in the Premier League at my club so many times before. So yeah, I'd go for. I love Hall. Absolutely love Hall.
Yeah, good choice. Let's see. Oh, I like this from DXLE. He says there's more chance of us signing Bonnie Blue than a Maverick. I like that.
Who does he play for?
Let's not go there.
Last season at Nottingham Forest, I think, wasn't she?
Yeah. Wearing the Chelsea top.
Yeah.
Surprise.
And then the last one for you, Dan, this is quite a big one. This comes from Jeannie, and Jeannie says, from an outside view looking in, what's your thoughts on Eddie Howe? Obviously, you shared your thoughts last time you were on. Is he the right man to take Newcastle forward, in your opinion?
For where you are now, I think next season with no European football, if that's it, then yeah, of course. He's been there and he's shown he can get you back into Champions League. I go back to, and I remember the last time I said this, I got a few comments in the chat saying I was being disrespectful, and I like Eddie Howe. I think Eddie Howe's a good manager, but when you look at the project you guys were on, I mean, 2030, you want to win the league or you want to be challenging for the league. Eddie Howe does not win Newcastle United the league. And look, as an Englishman, of course I want him to. We've never seen an Englishman win the Premier League. Do you know what I'm saying? But I just kind of feel like there are revolutions in football. There are eras, and you have to time your era with what you're trying to achieve. And I think Eddie Howe at this point has achieved all he can at Newcastle United. You might get a cup out of him. You might get a cup run this season and if you beat City, who knows? But I just think that for what you guys want to do, and don't forget, this summer's going to be massive for you. I don't think you win a Premier League with Eddie Howe. I don't think you win a Champions League with Eddie Howe, unfortunately. And that's not for my hatred of Tyndall. It's not for my hatred of Tyndall.
You lie.
You lie. He's such a nice guy too. JT.
Apparently so.
But no, that was it, Dan. But no, thank you for that. Interesting.
Brilliant stuff. And so we'll come to the predictions, the all-important predictions.
Yes.
For us, maybe the all-dreaded predictions. Let's wait and see. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to throw partial negativity. I can't see us winning tomorrow. Can't see it. I'm going to go 2-1 Man United win. I've got no confidence in this team right now. I just haven't. So it might sound negative, but I hope they prove me wrong. Daz, your prediction?
I'll try this button now because I can't remember what it does. I'm coming to win. I want a victory over Man United.
You're coming to win. We're coming to your place, you bozo.
I don't care. I know we're at home.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Okay.
look, just because I can't say anything else because it's Man United. It's my derby. Anytime we play Man United, with so much family, friends, work colleagues, everyone living around me supporting Man United, it's my battle. So yeah,
I knew I could vouch for one to back the win. I didn't think you'd do anything else, to be honest. Dan, we'll come to you, the opposition fan.
I think. See, I know what you're trying to do, Pete. I've been saying this all week. I know.
No,
you're trying to.
I'm not. This is how I feel right now.
Look in the chat. Look in the chat, Dan. All Newcastle, and normally, yeah.
Now, do you know something?
Every
Queen Sophie gets her score predictions when she's on my channel spot on. I don't know how she does it. Like she always seems to pick them, but I don't know if she's throwing me a red herring. Like I said before, I'd be happy with a Desmond, but I will go. It depends if they do the Dan Burn thing that you do at left back. I think it's a bad night for you guys. I'll go with Pete. I'll go 2-1 United. 2-1 United.
Chris, prediction? What are you going for? Yeah, go on.
Mate, I literally done like 2 flip-flops in my head. So my initial thought was I'm going to go 2-1 United, and I mean Manchester United, by the way. And you said 2-1 Man United, and then I thought, oh, maybe 1-1. Could it be a draw? And then I literally went, wouldn't it just be typical? And wouldn't it be so annoying? And Dan may think this is really weird. Wouldn't it be so annoying if we won 2-1? And then you think, yeah, but it's a bit fucking late now. It's a bit fucking late now. That I know that's how I feel. If we go and win tomorrow, I'll just be thinking, well, what is all this? And do you know what? The way the season's gone, it would not surprise me at all. Like I said earlier, in fact, I'm going to stick with it 2-1. And I said, and Anthony Gordon getting a brace, it would not surprise me.
You know what's going to happen then, Chris? This will happen.
Yeah. I'll be like, come on. Oh, mate. No, do you know what? I know I'll be fuming. I'm going to say 2-1 Newcastle.
Yeah. At least we've got some positivity in the house because I don't feel it at the moment. But look, let's wait and see. They've got it all to prove. Yeah. And we need to go. We need to bounce into that Man City game with a little bit of positivity. So we need a good performance from the lads, regardless. Because it seems like right now our season is stacked up on the FA Cup.
I've got a question for Pete and Daz, and Dan will like this question because I was just thinking it then. Would either of you, and this is Premier League only, would either of you have these on again this season in the Premier League? Because I'm not sure I would. I am not sure I would.
I miss those nights, boys. I miss those nights of coming on and seeing you.
I'm fucking shameless. I'll put these bad boys on right now.
Please put them on.
Pete, you wait till the summer do, mate. I'm going to be stealing those fucking glasses off you, mate.
No, because we're going to buy a separate pair.
Is that the changing of the guard on the Race for Europe? The handover, the sunglasses handover.
The summer do. I'm going to be on. Actually, I was going to say I was going to be on my knees there, but that's probably for a later show. And I want to place them on my head and say, "It's your turn now, son."
You need these.
Yeah.
Preferably keep Sam away from the fucking do as well.
I was about to say, if you're going to be on your knees, you don't want Sam anywhere around you, mate. But again, for another time, for another story, on another show, that is for sure. Look, Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Great to chat to you.
Thank you, boys. Appreciate it. Love coming on this show. Love coming on this show, and as I always say, you've got a fantastic community. They've always been really respectful, and I've enjoyed watching your channel grow even more this season. It's been a pleasure to be part of, and I think, as I always say, you're going strength to strength. And look, Newcastle will be back. Of course they will. This is just one of those blips that happens. You've been through it before. You're going through it now, but Newcastle will be back. They're too big a club now with the money that they've got, and I think they just need to sort a few things in-house out. Once they've done that, I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be celebrating again.
Yeah, let's hope so. 500 people in the chat. Make sure you go over and give a subscribe to Dan United on his YouTube channel. Great content. You've told us that we're going from strength to strength, and so are you in very short space of time. You raced over to over 1,000 subscribers, and you're soaring towards to and beyond.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
And it's a great community, by the way. So if you haven't subscribed to his channel, please go and subscribe to Dan United. Let's see the match reaction. Maybe even a watch along. Will you be doing a watch along?
Yeah, I'll be doing a watch along tomorrow. Be doing it with Kev, and I do you know something? Nobody warned me doing watch alongs. Watching them back, oh God, do I cringe at myself? I go through every emotion, man. Every emotion. It's tough. It's tough, but do you know what? I love it. And thanks for the support, because again, you know, we've always had you've always been pushing me the last sort of 3 years to go on and do my own thing. So it's because of the support I've had from people like you that have helped me to do so. So thank you very much.
No problem at all. If you're a Newcastle fan, pray for something positive. Pray for a goal or two. Pray for a win. Just give us something, please. Otherwise, it's countdown.
Need something. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you on the next one. Get well soon, Nick.
Oh, come on, move a little closer. Come on, I wanna hear you whisper. Come on, settle down inside my love. Accidentally in love. Accidentally in love. Accidentally in love. Accidentally in love. Accidentally I'm love. Accidentally I'm love. Accidentally, come on, spin a little tighter. Come on, and the world's a little brighter. Come on, get yourself inside her love.